When you heard what you're going to do when Hulkamania runs wild on you, you knew exactly who it was. For generations of fans, Hulk Hogan wasn't just a wrestler, he was the face of an era, a symbol of strength, showmanship, and unwavering charisma. Today, as we remember Hulk Hogan, born Terry Eugene Bollea, we reflect on a man whose impact reached far beyond the squared circle and into the very soul of popular culture. In the early 1980s, wrestling was still a regional attraction, enjoyed by devoted fans across the U.S., but largely under the mainstream radar. That all changed when Hulk Hogan burst onto the scene with his bandana, 24-inch pythons, and all-American charisma. His appearance in Rocky III as Thunderlips introduced him to Hollywood audiences, but it was Vince McMahon's vision and Hogan's unmatched presence that propelled the WWF, now WWE, into a national phenomenon. From body slamming Andre the Giant at WrestleMania III to his iconic feuds with Randy Macho Man Savage, the Ultimate Warrior, and later The Rock, Hulk Hogan wasn't just a performer, he was a cultural force. Hulkamania was more than a catchphrase. It was a movement, while his in-ring accomplishments were legendary 6 WWE championships, multiple WrestleMania main events, and a Hall of Fame induction. Hogan's reach extended beyond wrestling. He starred in movies like Suburban Commando and Mr. Nanny, had his own cartoon, Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling, and even a reality show, Hogan Knows Best, which brought him into living rooms once again in the 2000s. He represented the American dream, a blue-collar boy from Georgia who built himself into a global icon through charisma, discipline, and raw willpower. As much as he inspired millions, Hulk Hogan's legacy was not without its blemishes. In later years, controversies involving personal recordings and lawsuits surfaced, tarnishing the clean-cut image many fans had grown up with. The wrestling world and the public grappled with the dichotomy of separating the man from the myth to his credit. Hogan made efforts to apologize, rebuild relationships, and restore his place in the wrestling community. WWE would eventually reinstate him into the Hall of Fame, and many fellow wrestlers offered forgiveness, acknowledging the immense contributions he made to the industry. When news broke that Hulk Hogan had passed away at 71, the wrestling world paused in stunned silence. Tributes poured in from fans, wrestlers, celebrities, and longtime friends. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson posted, "Without Hulk Hogan, there's no The Rock. He was my hero, my inspiration, and I'm forever grateful." John Cena called him the man who made wrestling larger than life. Vince McMahon, in a rare public statement, said, "There would be no WWE as we know it without Hulk Hogan." At his private memorial service held in Clearwater Beach, Florida, Hogan's longtime home fellow legends like Ric Flair, Kevin Nash, and even longtime rival Randy Orton attended to say goodbye. His trademark yellow and red gear adorned the altar, and a video montage of his greatest moments played to a crowd of mourners who grew up with Real American as their childhood anthem. Brandon Blackstock, Kelly Clarkson's ex-husband and manager, once said of Hogan, "He knew how to control a crowd, but he was also deeply grounded." Despite his fame, Hogan valued family. He is survived by his children, Brooke and Nick, with whom he shared both triumphs and hardships. His complicated family dynamics were often public, but always grounded and deep, albeit imperfect. Love, his faith, which he leaned on heavily in later years, was said to bring him peace as he battled various health issues. Hogan had undergone multiple back and hip surgeries and had spoken openly about the physical toll wrestling had taken on him. Still, he remained optimistic, always insisting, "The Hulkster never quits." There's a reason Hulk Hogan is still one of the most recognized figures in sports entertainment. He paved the way for the Attitude Era, for crossover stars like The Rock and John Cena, and for the mainstream acceptance of wrestling as more than just a niche. Without Hulk Hogan, there may never have been a WrestleMania. There might not be billion-dollar TV deals or sold-out arenas in Saudi Arabia. His influence is embedded in every promo, every title belt raised in victory, and every kid who tears their shirt off pretending to be invincible. There are few names in the world of entertainment that echo louder than Hulk Hogan. For millions, he wasn't just a wrestler. He was a symbol of strength, a childhood hero, and a global icon who redefined what it meant to be larger than life. Born Terry Eugene Bollea on August 11, 1953, in Augusta, Georgia, Hogan didn't start out in red and yellow. He was a musician, a bodybuilder, a man trying to find his place in the world. But the moment he stepped into the wrestling ring, everything changed. The charisma, the unmatched energy, the sheer physicality. It was as if Hulk Hogan was born to be seen, with his signature handlebar mustache, bandana, and 24-inch pythons. Hogan was more than a superstar. He was the face of an entire era. The 1980s boom in professional wrestling would not have been the same without him. Vince McMahon's World Wrestling Federation (WWF) needed a hero to take wrestling into the mainstream, and Hulk Hogan answered the call. It was January 23, 1984, when Hulk Hogan defeated the Iron Sheik at Madison Square Garden to win his first WWF World Heavyweight Championship. That victory ignited something special: Hulkamania. It wasn't just a catchphrase, it was a movement. Say your prayers, take your vitamins, and believe in yourself. That was Hogan's message to his fans. He wasn't just about body slams and leg drops. He was about hope. He embodied the idea that good could triumph over evil, that heroes were real, and that with enough heart, you could overcome anything. WrestleMania, the grandest stage of them all, was built on his broad shoulders. His battles with the likes of Andre the Giant, Macho Man Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior, and The Undertaker became the stuff of legend. Who could forget WrestleMania 3, when Hogan did the unthinkable, body slamming the 520-pound Andre the Giant in front of 93,000 screaming fans? That moment didn't just change wrestling, it defined it. But Hulk Hogan wasn't just confined to the squared circle. His popularity spilled into Hollywood, television, merchandise, and more. From starring in movies like No Holds Barred to his hit reality TV show Hogan Knows Best, Hogan became a household name. His voice, style, his energy was inescapable. Kids wore his shirts, mimicked his poses, and shouted his catchphrases. "What you're gonna do, brother?" came a rallying cry for an entire generation. He was everywhere, yet somehow still felt personal. To millions, he wasn't just a character on TV. He was someone who represented strength, confidence, and the power of standing tall in the face of adversity. Yet, behind the fame, there were battles that went far beyond wrestling. Hogan's life, off-camera, was often tumultuous. His divorce from Linda Hogan, family drama, legal battles, and controversies tested the strength of the very man who once seemed invincible. He faced public scrutiny, personal loss, and even exile from the very industry he helped build. But just like in the ring, Hulk Hogan did what he always did best. He got back up. In later years, he returned to WWE not as the unstoppable force of the 80s, but as a symbol of what wrestling meant to so many. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame not once, but twice once as an individual, and again as a founding member of the legendary NWO New World Order, the renegade group that redefined wrestling in the 1990s. He apologized for his past. He rebuilt relationships. And in doing so, he reminded fans that even heroes are human and that redemption is possible. The world received heartbreaking news. Hulk Hogan had passed away at the age of 71 after a private battle with cancer. For fans, it felt like the end of an era. The immortal, the man who once seemed untouchable, had taken his final bow. Tributes poured in from every corner of the world. From fellow wrestlers like Ric Flair and John Cena, to actors, athletes, and everyday fans, the messages all shared the same sentiment: Hulk Hogan mattered. He made people believe. He gave them something to cheer for when life was hard. He was a hero not just in the scripted world of wrestling, but in the hearts of everyone who watched him tear off his shirt, cup his ear, and bring down the house with that atomic leg. His funeral was attended by wrestling's biggest names, fans, and family. It was a celebration of life, a moment of collective mourning, and an acknowledgement of a man who shaped a generation. Hulk Hogan's life was as theatrical, inspiring, and occasionally turbulent as the business he helped revolutionize. He was a man who lived his life in bold letters, who stumbled, rose again, and remained until the very end, the embodiment of entertainment's golden age. As we say goodbye, we don't just remember the man, we remember the music, the roar of the crowd, and that electrifying energy that could light up an arena. Hulk Hogan wasn't just a wrestler. He was a phenomenon. He was a hero to those who needed one, a role model to millions, a symbol of strength when the world felt weak. And as the lights dim one final time, somewhere you can still hear that voice. What you're gonna do when Hulkamania runs wild, ... in your heart. Rest in power, Hulkster.